There should be a lip-sync battle competition between world leaders to raise awareness for LGBTQ rights.
And what is the heart of queer community? It's a lip sync for your policies.
Hi, I'm Sean from Dear Straight People.
And I'm Hirzi, Singapore's national treasure, also known as Beyonce. Welcome to the one-off Pride Special Debate Club episode where we will be discussing hot takes that have almost never been vocalized. From LGBTQIA+ issues all the way to the silly ones. Watch me as I obliterate my competition.
Watch me as I destroy budget Beyonce.
Hey, that's not nice. That's very hurtful. How are you feeling for this episode that we're about to embark on?
Relatively confident. What about you?
I'll be honest, I don't know what they have prepared for us because I'm pretty sure some of it are really like off tangent from like political debates, right? So I hope to slay those fun ones because I'm a fun one. Not like you, you're a Taurus. You're meant to be square and boring.
No, you're supposed to be Cancer, so we're supposed to be best friends. You're supposed to be nicer to me.
You'd want that. But I'd win because
Okay,
my Mars
budget
is in Leo.
Beyonce.
Oh, stop calling me that. It will catch on. It will catch on.
Budget Beyonce. In each round, participants will be given a statement and randomly assigned to debate for or against. Each individual then gets 1 minute to make his point.
A final face-off will then commence where participants get 30 seconds each on their clocks to stage rebuttals. At any point of time, they can wave their white flag if they'd like to admit defeat. So our first motion is, it is wrong to ask someone, are you gay? Okay, I literally have just 1 point. Identity is a very precious experience for most people, especially their sexual identity. It takes someone to have to go through a lot to understand truly who they are. So outing them someone by asking, are you gay, implies that you already assume they know who their identity is. But the most important part about identity is a safe space. And asking someone, are you gay, outing them in the middle of family, social circle, and also a workspace endangers them because you don't know what kind of environment they're in. And at the same time, this might put them on the spot to either be homeless, jobless, or lose their social circle. And on that note, in the last 12 seconds, I'd like to tell you my Instagram handle is @HirziOfficial if you want to follow. Thank you.
Why you speak so eloquently? I'm going to be all Okay, it is okay to ask someone, are you gay? Because if you say it's not okay, means you're implying that there's something wrong with being gay, right? So I think the reason why I'm against that motion is because you want to normalize conversations. You don't want sexuality to be such a big issue. I mean, you don't go around and be like, are you Singaporean, right? So the key is to kind of create an environment where we can have open conversations like this. And the first step to doing so is to make sexuality less of a taboo. And I know I've got 20 more seconds to talk. You can follow me at Mr. Sean Fu too.
I'd like to start my debate by saying what Malay people would when we begin an argument. Tak ada, kau salah. Kau dengar sekap. So basically, the opposition is implying that to ask someone is to normalize the conversation, but he fails to address the fact that it needs to be in the sense of a safe space for something to become less taboo. You are also assuming that the person in question has already accepted his sexual identity and therefore impeding his version of his own individual safe space.
So I think that, okay, you make quite good points. I do agree that in today's environment, it's probably not right to ask, are you gay in such an open way, but maybe hopefully in 10 years' time, Singapore will be at a stage where we can actually ask questions like this. Okay, next topic. LGBTQ studies should be taught or mentioned in schools. Okay, I really hope I get 4.
Oh, really? You want that? Because I am actually...
You want against?
Yes. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, thank God, 4.
I got it again.
Okay, I'm very interested to hear what you say, because to me, this is like, obviously it should be mentioned in school.
What? I'm entitled to my opinion.
Not if it's wrong. 33% of homosexuals are pedophiles. That was a fact that was taught to Hwa Chong students not very long ago. And that's the kind of thing that happens when you don't teach LGBT topics in school. We are very lucky that we live in an age today where social media is very prevalent, but I think that the problem right now with Singapore in general is that there is no education being done in schools. So there are a lot of confused students who struggle with their sexuality because they are not in an environment where LGBT education is being taught correctly. In summary, it's important for LGBT topics to be taught in schools to promote an inclusive environment so that everyone, both teachers and students, are educated on such an important topic that will really have a big impact on the rest of their lives.
So the motion states that LGBT topics should be mentioned or taught in school. My point here being, what kind of LGBT topics should be taught in school, for what purpose, and to whom? If you think about it, we are a secular country at best, and we don't just have queer students. What needs to be a right for students everywhere is the right to choose what kind of elective they want to pick. So if they would like to learn, I would suggest that an LGBT topic in school is taught as an elective or an anti-bullying or anti-discriminatory subject that they can overall teach in blanket. Yes, I agree with that example that there was a horrible way to teach LGBT topics, but at the same time, we are also impeding into people who don't want to have their right of religious choices to subscribe to it automatically. And I think the right to choose the subject matter you want in school is important. Thank you.
So I think it's important to teach LGBT topics in school because it allows LGBT students to see themselves reflected in the curriculum and also let them know that it's okay to be gay or lesbian or bi or whatever.
I'm not against it being taught in school for queer people individually specifically, but we need to answer whether or not it is a main subject and elective that someone can choose to study, and also what purpose was it to teach. If it's to teach anti-discriminatory and anti-bullying, can it be taught with a blanket of anti-bullying subjects? It needs to reflect someone's right to choose when it comes to such matters.
The issue with that argument is that if students have to choose means you're kind of forcing them to out themselves. At that age, a lot of them will be struggling with their sexuality, so it should not be an elective because when you're teaching sex education in general, you're not telling people to be straight also. So if you're teaching LGBT topics, you're not telling them to be LGBT, you're just educating them about what it means to be LGBT and... Oh, my time ran out.
What are we teaching? If we're just teaching what is LGBT, these are information you can find on the internet anyways. What is specific is anti-bullying at its best and how you can not discriminate a community from this subject matter.
So I think with LGBT education, what you seem to be under the impression of is that a lot of it are opinions. But right now, what I'm stating, some of it is fact. So for example, a lot of people always say that, oh, there is no homosexuality in nature, right? They'll say that, oh, even animals know how to choose their mate, which is completely wrong. But like a lot of straight people, they will say things like this and they think that they're very smart. But they don't realize how ignorant they sound. So if things like that were taught in school and show that sexuality is fluid, even in nature, it will help to dispel a lot of misconceptions from young.
I mean, there's so many points that you bring up that I agree with, and most of my politics are very nuanced anyway. So I guess we can agree to disagree to two different opinions. And at the end of the day, it also comes from, an empathetic point of view, what you have and what I have. So yeah, comment below what you all think.
There should be a lip-sync battle competition between world leaders to raise awareness for LGBTQ rights.
In a world where leaders need to be accessible and relatable, the only way to understand a community is to understand the heart of the community. And what is the heart of queer community? It's a lip sync for your policies.
So world leaders should not lip sync for their legacy because they are world leaders. I feel like that statement itself explains my entire argument. Lip sync is a sacred art. Unless you know the lyrics to top 40 songs, you should not lip sync and ruin your legacy.
Fellow distinguished panel of judges, it's an oxymoron when you say you are embarrassing your legacy if you fail to do it successfully when you already call a lip sync an art that is sacred. So what is it? Is it an embarrassment or is it a legacy? May the best debater win.
I don't understand what he just said, but anyway.
Oh, okay. So next motion is only gay men should act in BL drama. Would you like to plug in a little bit?
So I do have a new BL out now. It's called Straight Best Friend, and it is played by an openly queer cast. Even the straight lady is played by a queer woman. I got against.
And I got 4. Over the course of the last few centuries, opportunities have always been inclined towards giving it to a heteronormative crowd. Even when it comes to the roles that are scripted for, the narratives that are scripted for, it has always been hetero. Whether or not they're performed by gay cast, that's a separate issue. But when the opportunity comes for a queer person to land a gig that strictly sits with his or her narrative or their narrative, that should always be a priority to succinctly cast people from that community so that the storytelling becomes authentic. And that is my point for that. I'm actually against.
We should have just swapped. So I think people who genuinely believe in the against will say that it is acting, so the best person should get the job. even though in reality that is not what happens, because when you're openly gay, you are not even allowed to audition. But people who believe that it's against are under the impression that we live in a very fair world where you are judged based on your talents only when it comes to showbiz and not on your actual sexuality. Gay roles should be played by straight people since they're already playing every other role. I wave the right flag.
I'm actually against the motion from what I had to stand. I understand the principles of what I said, but on top of that, I feel like when it comes to roles played by actors, the primary purpose and function of an actor is to act first. And therefore, by credentials, it's who showed up to audition at best. Merit should grant that person a job. And I will conclude it also with a statement by Dominic R.K. Johnson, who played the character of Electra on Pose. She says, "I am someone who's trans, and I hope that I don't only play trans roles in the future. In me believing in being able to perform cisgender women roles, it's also me having to believe that people who are outside of the queer community get to also play us best person for the job."
I agree with the concept of best person for the job, but in Singapore and most of Asia, when you are openly gay, you will not be allowed to audition.
I think the solution to that is to then solve the problem of homophobia within the industry and not to limit the cisgendered actor from his merit to perform roles that truly is remarkable, and also possibly bridging a wider audience outside the gay community.
In conclusion, I strongly believe that gay roles should go to gay actors because gay actors generally don't have a lot of opportunities in general, which is why for all my productions, I always cast gay actors. And my current production called Straight Best Friend, it is played by an openly queer cast. You can watch it on YouTube on Dear Straight People. There are 3 episodes.
I don't have a plug-in, but follow me on Instagram at Hirzi_official.
So how was the debate, guys?
I'm glad there were many moments where we disagree with each other, so then you can truly hear how nuanced the discussion is when it comes to even the queer community for the queer community.
So Pride Month is all about increasing awareness about LGBT topics, and I think that one of the challenging things is doing it in an entertaining way that is palatable to other people. So I think this is a very good concept for people to kind of learn about LGBT issues in a fun and entertaining way. Good job, guys.
They're not asking for testimonial.
Can more be done for the community?
Of course, there's a lot more that can be done. I feel like in the last 10 years alone, so much has progressed and transpired. And we continue to prove that when you empower queer rights, that nothing truly changes the status quo of the peace and harmony in Singapore. Maybe slowly and surely as we inch more, you will realize actually what were we holding on to.
Thank you for watching this episode. Hope you enjoyed it.
And don't forget to hit the like, comment below any opinions you have, and also subscribe to their channel. Happy Pride Month! Pride Month! Showering in the morning is not necessary.
Do you shower in the morning?
Of course!
Oh, I don't know.
Whether or not you smell me in the bus, it's you having a nose. And perhaps you should do something about that. It's your choice to have a nose as much as it's my choice to have my body odor.